Investors have been capitalizing on the recent strength in the U.S. economy with renewed focus on the tech sector. Upbeat sentiment about the industry comes in spite of the ongoing trade war rhetoric and damaging news such as data privacy scandals. The Nasdaq 100 was lifted to a record high on Tuesday amid further evidence of an improving labor market, with job openings and labor turnover data for April reaching a new series high. While U.S. employment has been on an upward trend in several industries, the unemployment rate at a near 50-year low, and manufacturing on an upswing, there are also signs global growth may be on the rise. One indication of this comes from South Korea's shipments of semiconductors, which rose 45% in May to a record of almost $11 billion. The news not only helped fuel positive sentiment about global growth prospects, but also contributed to the tech sector gains. The iShares Philadelphia Stock Exchange Semiconductor Sector ETF, SOX, for example, has been inching closer to its multi-year high set in March this year, while FANG stocks have also risen. However, it appears SOX has recently been outperforming FANG, which stands for Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Alphabet's Google. This may be due to the market's optimism about the future of the semiconductor sector compared to the company's specific headline risks faced by some of the FANG group. Facebook, for example, was down nearly 2% intraday Wednesday after news the social media giant was sharing data with Chinese device makers such as Huawei. This further compounded its recent data privacy scandal. Meanwhile, the semiconductor market is set to rise nearly 12.5% in 2018 from last year, according to World Semiconductor Trade Statistics. The organization anticipates exceptional growth from the memory business, which should continue to give a boost to companies like Samsung Electronics. Other semiconductor companies on the Nasdaq 100 that have made solid gains recently include Applied Materials, KLA Tencor, and Lam Research. Analysts also generally say the semiconductor industry is poised to take advantage of the likely boom in emerging new technology as areas such as artificial intelligence, driverless and connected cars, and the Internet of Things achieve greater commercial traction. Check out the IBKR Traders Inside page on the Interactive Brokers website to find out what our other contributors are saying about the state of the market, and subscribe to our daily email. I'm Steven Levine for Interactive Brokers.